Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Saturday, August 26th, 2023, and this is Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher, coming to you live from South Central Pennsylvania. It's a sunny day. There's some clouds up there. The humidity is there. I think it's making its last hurrah. I could be wrong because, Indian summer hasn't hit. But it's supposed to cool down next week, so who knows? This is Pennsylvania. If you don't like the weather, wait a couple days. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope that everyone in California and Nevada and whoever else was hit by the hurricane, I hope you all are okay. I can only imagine how that impacts you when you're not used to it. So and I hope everybody that's in the line of any wildfires is okay. It's just crazy. Mother Nature is, you have to wonder how much over time we have created these weather patterns, because we concrete everything, and of course the whole greenhouse gas thing. I don't know, I'm not a meteorologist, I'm not a scientist, but I often wonder if we knew then what we know now, would it have made a difference? I guess that's a life question we're never going to answer. All right, so believe it or not, I made an agenda. Woohoo! Maybe I'm not so disorderly after all. I will apologize up front. Lawnmower man's outside doing his thing, so if you hear sort of a weird hum, that's what that is. Do it, mow the grass while the sun shines, right? So I think he's done with the side and the back, so I think we should be okay. Then again, maybe not. Yeah, he's done. So, yeah. Life update. We are back at school. Yay! So, let's back that up a little bit to about August 14th. Which I think is after when I made my last video. It was Monday. For those of you who have been around a while, you know that I have been having issues with my right knee. I have no cartilage in it. It went out about 4 years ago, so at least once a year. I haven't gone to the twice a year shots because I just refuse to. I go and get a cortisone shot. And this year I waited, instead of going right after school was out in June, I waited until August so that I would be good to go, hopefully for most of the school year. Well, on August 14th, in the morning, I was unloading my dishwasher. I took 2 steps and the left knee went out. It just feels like somebody takes the back of my knee and rips the tendons and the muscles, and it's uber painful. So I hobbled out to the living room and sat down, and my grandson, brought me some ice, and I called my husband and I said, hey, this is what happened. I want to call the injury clinic and go down and see what they say. So he came home and we went down and they took an x-ray, and sure enough, the left knee now has no cartilage in it. So, the girl, looked at it, poked at it, blah, 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 blah. Same story. She's a little more understanding about the weight issue than the guy is, but, go figure. So she gave me a cortisone shot, but I'm wondering if she put it in the right place, because A, I still have this huge purple bruise on my leg, and B, I still have uber pain in my knee. And unfortunately, because I'm on my feet all the time at school, or I try to be on my feet as much as possible working with my kids, I had to take my walker to school. When my right knee went out, I went and bought myself a walker. And thank goodness I have it, because now I'm using it again. And being in the new wing at school and furthest away from everything, what am I supposed to do? Okay. So, A friend of mine from school told me that maybe it's time to get a second opinion, and she gave me the name of a doctor in another office in the same group. And, she said, my husband's a big guy, bigger than you, and he had a hip replacement. So I'm hoping that this guy's a little more welcome to the idea that my quality of life sucks. So I've been hobbling. It feels a little bit better today, maybe because I was off of it last night and I just sat in my chair and went to bed and, the whole 9 yards. But that's where we stand with my knee. The kids came back on Thursday. This group has a reputation of being a little rowdy, but as I've said in previous videos, I think it's because with the size of the building they had to take all these kids and put them into 2 4-person teams in 7th grade. And when you do that and you have 30 couple kids in a room, you're going to have problems. So now that they've split some of those personalities up on 3 teams, I'm hoping things go better. You're going to always have the kids that test the waters and so and so and so and so. And the main goal is to be consistent with your expectations. And I'm like, okay, I gave one kid, the ultimatum Thursday night, first day of school. I said, you make the choice where we go next. You have until tomorrow to show me that I don't have to call home, that I don't have to talk to Mrs. Barnhart to have her talk, or shouldn't have said that. The principal, the assistant principal, and have her talk to you. So, yeah. I said, I'm not going to write you up right away, but give me a reason. Push, 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 push. And that's where I end up. So he came in Friday and he was pretty good. So it's going to be interesting. I told the kids, when you have an assignment, if it's not turned in when I want it, then I put a 0 into the grade book, and it's electronic, and you can see your grades. So they had the first simplest assignment they could have had. They were supposed to take their syllabus home on Thursday, talk to their parents about it, go over it, get both, they sign it, parents sign it, bring the bottom portion back, you get 5 points. I put a lot of 0s in this morning, so I'm hoping it's a wake-up call. But 2 down, 178 to go. Yeah. So I think we'll be okay. I might have to rearrange my desks a little bit so they're not quite so tight. But, yeah. Because some of these kids are pretty big, pretty tall. So, yeah. And there's a couple I would just love to clone because I can already tell they're polite, they're respectful, they're helpful, they're kind. Yes. All right. So, with that being said, let's move on to the stuff you really came here for. And that would be cross stitch. All right. So, I fulfilled all of my Whip Go and Boss Me goals. And so let's bring those up to date. So my August, and if you're not familiar with Whip Go, let's start with that. Whip Go is a thing that Jessie Marie started, and I'll put a link to her YouTube down below. But what it is basically a bingo board, but it's called Whip Go. And you put a whip that you would like to spend some time on in each box. And if you notice, number 13 is a free space. So every month she chooses 2 numbers. One month she chooses 3 because there's 25 squares, but there's only 12 months, right? So August, I was supposed to work on Simple Life by Teresa Kogut. And where's my other August? Oh, right there in the middle. Martha Evans by Scarlet House, which is the sampler that Tanya charted in honor of Brenda and the Serial Starters' 60th birthday. So I was supposed to work on each one for 5 days. I've got like a stack of project bags here. It's crazy though. Crazy. That's not the one I want. This is one of them. So this is my Up project bag. I love the movie Up. Doug is like one of my favorite characters. So this is Martha Evans by the Scarlet House. Keep it in my binder sleeve. All right. I think it's pretty. And I am using, I purchased the kit and I am using NPI silk. The irony here is that I keep my silks in floss away bags. And I gave away my floss away bags. So probably what I will do with the floss away bags that I pull DMC out of, I will just put my, what are these things called? Silks in. Okay? All right. The cool thing about NPI is that they give you the color number and the lot number, dye lot number. So if you run out, you can contact them and maybe they still have some of the dye lot. Hopefully I won't run out. And I'll tell you what, you know, everybody has their opinion about their own, you know, which silk is the best. This is the only silk I've ever worked with, and I love it. It is seriously, like, everybody says it's like butter, but it is. You can feel how smooth it is when it comes through the fabric. So this is divided into different pages, and let's get rid of this weird string because we don't need a weird string. So I had started this before and then put it away. And then I decided to work on it for 5 days for my whip go. And then I decided to try and get most of the first page done, which I did. So there we go. Yes, there were a couple things I had to pull out, such as life. And yes, there's a couple of reimaginings, as Annie the Proper Stitcher would say, because I missed a stitch or moved it over, but as long as I remember where it was and I can make it look okay, I leave it in there. I'm not tearing it out. So for example, the cat, there is a mistake in the cat. I am not taking it out. So I have part of the bunny done. I still have to fill in these flowers over here, but I'm happy with it. I love it. And you know, that border is relatively easy because it's the same stitch pattern. So once you get the rhythm, you've got it. So I don't know if you can see the silks, but I love them. They are fun. Fun, fun, fun. All right. So that was one of my whip goes. I did my 5 days. Life is good. I used to be, back in the 80s and 90s, I used to be a monogamous stitcher. And there are days I wish I still was, but what the heck, right? No big deal. All right. My other whip go was, what was my other whip go? My other whip go was Ann Tong, which I think I showed last time, so I'm not going to dig her out. My Boss Me was, my one Boss Me was Simple Life by Teresa Kogut. This is her Tier 4 mystery in her Patreon. If you are not a member of her Patreon or any Patreon that a designer has that you really, really enjoy, it's well worth the money, because as Tier 4 members, we get 3 charts every month. And when you think about the price of charts, $20 a month really isn't that bad. Now, I don't have the full picture of it. I'm just going to flash this first page real quick. Woo! Okay. There it is. So I finished. Here are the pretty colors. It's a combination of Weeks, Color and Cotton, and one Gentle Arts. It's Wood Rose. I think Brenda Gervais uses Wood Rose a lot. But there they are. I keep it in my Looney Tunes bag because you can never have too many loony people, right? And my goal was to get the first page done. So there it is. In fact, I didn't put it down until I did. Now, this one I made a substitution. I think I talked about this last time. Her blouse is supposed to be grits, Weeks Dye Work grits, and it did not show up. So I changed it to, let me find it. Hold please. I changed it to Sandcastle, which is this one right there. And I think it shows up well. And I also changed the stitches, the top and bottom stitches in the bees there from grits to Sandcastle. And I'm still trying to decide if I want to pull out those bird tails and change them to Sandcastle. I probably will. Now, yes, there is a mistake. And yes, I made sure I know the adjustment is there. But that top B-skep has an extra row in it. But I was able to do the trees based on the top of the B-skep, and everything's cool. So yeah. It's pretty full. I love it. This is the first Therese Kogut I've ever worked on. So I think all 6 parts of that have been released in the Patreon, and I believe I downloaded all 6 parts, so I need to go in there and print the whole thing, and we'll be good to go. So that's my first Boss Me. Boss Me is a small group of people, friends of mine, and Boss Me stands for Boston, Maine. And it's the same idea as Whip Go. They choose 2 numbers a month. One month they choose 3, and you're supposed to work on them as according to your chart. I did not join them until halfway through the year, so my chart obviously is not full. So again, I think last week I showed you Antong, which was part of my August, and You're the Boss, which was a finish. Okay? All right. So, let's talk about Whip Goes and Boss Me's for September. So the numbers were called, and they Boss Me was 7 and 15, and Whip Go was 1 and 15, and Hallelujah, they're both the same. So you know what? Both of them are 5 days. I am not adding 5 and 5 together. So when I get 5 days done on the one, I'm counting it for both, and when I get 5 days done on the other, I'm counting it for both, and we're calling it a month. So since they're the same, I'm just going to show you one. So my number 1 on Whip Go and my number 7 on Boss Me is to work on a Prairie Schooler Santa. And my number 15 on both of them is to work on a Hawk Run Hollow. Now this one specifically says Village of Hawk Run Hollow. The other one just says, I think it also says Village. So I'm going to say it could be either one, because I am working on the map of Hawk Run Hollow and the Village of Hawk Run Hollow. So, here's the map. This is by Carriage House Samplings. All right, there's quite a few Hawk Run Hollows. There's map, village, houses, farms, shore, by the shores or something, Halloween, Christmas. So if one of these interests you, start with one of them. I will tell you they are big. All right, so there's the map. And the first time I saw this chart, I was like, I like it. But then as I saw it being done, I thought, well, that's pretty cool. So it calls for, let's see, it called for 40 count vintage autumn gold using needlepoint silk, yada, yada, yada. But I decided not to use NPIs, and I'm using DMC, which, I'm cool. So I keep it in my little camping bag. When I made mine, I also made one for Chris, the camping stitcher, because, she camps a lot. And I just love the gingham. Or as one of my stepsisters called it when she was in high school, gin jam. Or maybe middle school. I don't know. So they're all DMCs. They're Budamus. Alright. And I know this is called Autumn Gold. I don't know if it's vintage, but works for me. I am not very far on this, to say the least, and you don't want to see the back of it, do you? No. There's Lawnmower Man. Sorry about that. Thought he was done. I will use my teacher voice. Alright, so this is as far as I've gotten. Alright. So I have part of the border on top. The big blob on the side is part of the bird's wing, and the little white V's are also in the bird's wing, which will be surrounded by the brown. So it's going to look like that. Okay. So that's as far as I've gotten on the map. One of these days. One of these days. I mean, I hate to say it, but there's a part of me that's hoping the doctor says, maybe we need to get you to retire. And that would, I hate to say it, that would be great, because, yeah, could I wait until the end of April and get full retirement? Yes. Is $400 worth the pain in my knees? No. But I don't know. I hate to do that to the administration, but it is what it is. The other choice for Hawk Run Hollow is Village. I started up in the up here, I think. Yes, I started up here. Wouldn't it be great to be able to do one square a month? Well, because of other things, that's not going to happen. All right, I have a habit of leaving my needles in the margin, in the salvage. So, I haven't worked on this in a while, and this is as far as I've gotten. So, there's the first square. Like the snake. Pretty cool. And my fishies. And I am using, again, DMC. This one's got a lot. So, there's all those. I just keep it in my pumpkin bag that I made. You can see my bags are getting crunched because I have them in a Longaberger laundry basket that my mother-in-law gave me when I was married, and you don't use that for a laundry basket. And yeah, so they're all getting crunched. I have my whips in the laundry basket, And then I have my kitted projects in a plastic milk crate. I cannot kit any more projects, she says, as she just kitted one last week. Right? Yes. Or 2 weeks ago. All right. So that's that. So it'll be either one of those or both. Who knows? Whatever floats my boat and whatever I have time for. So my other one is a Prairie Schooler Santa. And I have all of my Prairie Schoolers in my Ohio bag. Why you ask? Because why not? All right. I need to order the 2023 Santa. I have my threads in my little Starlight Stitching Co. thread keep. The cool thing about these is that there's only a couple of thread colors, so I think I know which ones they are if I just lay them in there. I had finished one. My goal last year was to do one a month. Yeah, screw the goal. So I had finished this one. Laura, who is Stitching by the Shore, she's doing hers on different counts and different colors. And she doesn't do the little dashed border. And you know what? Honestly, I'm really thinking about taking that off. I haven't decided yet. So my goal this month is just to work on a Santa for 5 days. And I have this one. I'll have to figure out which one it is. But I have this one almost done. So yeah, I'm going to try and finish that one. All right. I have no idea which one it is. These are being done on the called for 18 count Davos. I had gotten that a huge hunk from Stitches Unlimited in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You know, this was when I got back into stitching, and it was before I even, you know, like you can change fabrics. So, yeah. I wish I had done it on something else, but what are you going to do? So the one I'm working on now is the 2012. So I have his legs and his sack and the letter he's holding, I think, to do. And whether or not I want to do the little dash border, I have no idea. I don't know what the other one was. And there's some I really want to do. I would love to do them all. The sad thing, you know, is that I had some of these when they came out in the 80s and 90s, and I got rid of them. This is the other one I did, the 2021. But, yeah. This is 2022. Now that, I don't know if I like that neon thread for the lights. I get why she used it, but it's not my thing. You know, not my jam. All right, so that's my Prairie Schooler. So that's where I'm going with Whip Go and Boss Me. All right. So, as I mentioned a minute ago, I did kit something new. Jenny and Nancy from the Bougie Stitchers announced that they were going to do a sal with, Sandy, Stitching with Sandy, who I met at StitchCon. And they decided to do the Equality Sampler by Plum Street. And I have, you know, here I'm nerding out, people. Here I go with my teacher nerdness. All right, so this one is all about the 19th Amendment and women getting the right to vote. So it says, Declaration of Sentiments, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal. It says 1848, so I am wondering, I'd have to go back and look, was that stated at the convention in New York State? And then in the middle it has Lucretia Mott, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Marianne McClintock. who were three very big movers and shakers in the women's rights movement. And then at the bottom it says 1920, and that was when the 19th Amendment was ratified. So, yes, I jumped on board. Sorry, it's still in the hoop. I should take it out because I'm not working on it right now. But I got so into this a couple weeks ago that I just couldn't put it down. So I got the upper left corner flower done. It looks like an egg. Now I did have to make one or two substitutions because I didn't have the thread, and so there's like caper and cappuccino. Weeks Dye Works I did not have, so I substituted the DMC, and then I didn't have DMC 832, so I substituted Weeks Bee's Knees. So far, the bee's knees has only been seen in the middle of the flower. A friend of mine said, wow, that looks like an egg, and I never thought about it, but I think it does. Or an amoeba. Pick one. But yeah, so I needed to do that strawberry to get a splash of brighter color in there. Now, sorry about that. When I was in first grade, on my report card, my teacher said Nancy does not like to follow directions. Well, it's not that Nancy doesn't like to follow directions. Nancy just usually jumps in with both feet and tries to figure it out. Then Nancy gets frustrated and, whatever. Nancy did not read the directions. Nancy found out that there is over one. All of the words are over one. Now, I'm doing over one on Antong as well. And most of it, I'm doing the tent stitch. This one, I'm doing full stitches. So that D, I don't know if you can see it, that D is over one. Am I a glutton for punishment or what? Now, I should have said something. This is 36 count. I keep forgetting to tell you what I'm doing it on. This is 36 count. Vintage homespun, which is what it calls for, which is ironic because somebody was selling a fat quarter of vintage homespun by R&R on the D-Stash group, and I thought, what the heck, you can always use a fat quarter of something neutral. How about that? It came in the mail. Ding ding. Using it. So, my threads aren't the neatest, but there we go. It's a combination of Weeks, DMC, and I put my DMC on my pretty little floss drops that Chris the Camping Stitcher made for me for my birthday. I love them. She has a Cricut, which makes me seriously want to buy a Cricut, but I need to get another hobby. Yeah. Keep it in my little binder sleeve. This is going to keep it from sticking to the vinyl, and I just grab my Halloween bag because, I like it. I like Halloween. I'm just not, I don't decorate a lot. I've never been a decorator. I probably should start, but, when you're 61, what the hey. So that was a new start. I'm not going to show you my temperature tree until I get August done, and August isn't done, so I'm not going to show it to you. All right, now, what has Nancy really been working on? Nancy's biggest push, as if you watched the last couple, I don't know when I announced it, a very generous viewer, I had announced that one of my goals was someday to stitch Lady of the Flag and Queen of Freedom by Mirabilia. They were published soon after 9/11, and they're out of print. And You know, these charts, I've seen them sold of up to like $350. And a gracious, very gracious viewer who also happens to be an educator messaged me, emailed me, and said, I would be glad to loan you Lady of the Flag. So I got it in the mail. You know, last time I said I'm scared to death to touch it, you know, to do anything with it. And she texted me and she said, don't worry about it. It's okay. So here is Lady of the Flag. Now, I am going to do her dress in blue. Someone did a blue conversion, and another gal that I follow on Instagram had the blue conversion, so she shared it with me. So my threads, whoops, it's sticking to my magnets. My threads, there are a lot of blues. A lot of them are in the 930, 931, 932, 824, 799, 793, and 336 is like a really deep blue. But yeah. And when I pulled these, I'm like, what is the pink and the like what I call like a more vibrant hot pink in there for? I'm guessing that it might be for maybe her mouth or the roses or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was in the gold conversion and I'm not doing that. Anyway. So I'm going to put this back in the baggie. All right. And I apologize. This is not out of the hoop because this is my main stitch. You know, people talk about focus stitches. Well, this is mine. I've already made a couple mistakes, but thankfully I was able to fix them relatively easily. I could tell where the tail was and pull it out and, you know, rip out a few stitches and then tie it off again, or, you know, weave it under again. This is being done on 32 count flannel flower by Fox and Rabbit. I love it. And right now I'm doing it in a Nerge hoop. So that's her dress. Now, all these empty spaces, that's where some beads or Krynic blending metallic filament will go in. I have not done those yet. I ordered 2 roll of frame bar sets. They are not here yet, so I'm just going to keep working in the Nerge hoop and, you know, skip the beads and the Krynic, and when my roller frames come, then I will load this in there, and that way I'll be able to do them without any danger of crushing them. And I was able to go to school using my tax dollars, and I made big working copies. Woo! So I have those, and so what I'm doing is I'm just, you know, I have a red pencil and I'm marking the stitches off as I do them. So for example, like this is the top and the bottom of the section of the page I'm working on. So that's as far as I'm going. All right, and then it'll go out, you know, it's like part of her dress. It's not the very bottom of her dress, but it's, you know, the next section up. So I do a color, you know what I mean? And then like this color right here, this darker blue, has to swing around under here. So I'll do that. And this little channel right here, this has Krynic in it. And I've never used Krynic, so I've been asking for a lot of advice. So yeah, that's where I am with that. So that's my focus stitch. You know, if I've got the time, I do this. I don't want to hang on to this chart forever. Obviously, it's not mine. And but the nice thing about the viewer that shared it with me is that she, you know, being in education, she gets it. So, you know, we sort of agreed that I would have it done in a year, but I don't think she'll be that uptight if it's not. So I keep it in my red, white, and blue portfolio that I made. So if you haven't seen it before, it has the zip, it has the pocket, and yeah, right now I'm crunching it. You can hear it crunchy. So yes. So that's Lady of the Flag. And I cannot wait to get it done and hang it up. In fact, I know where I'm going to hang them. They are going to go in my living room. For those of you that are new, I live in a 50s ranch, raised ranch. And, you know, there's not a lot of wall space in my house. But there's a corner in my living room. And I want to put one on one corner and one on the other if I'm able to do Queen of Freedom. So, yes. Or they'll go in my bedroom. I don't care. All right. All right. So we're going to put my Boss Me and Whipco board back in here in September. So here's my book of days. You can start seeing school stuff like the 21st and 22nd. It said in service. And I didn't write down equality sampler in there, so I need to do that. And, you know, like first day of school, things like that. All right. Okay. So, you know, September's right around the corner. Next week we have in service on September 1st. And then, of course, we have Labor Day off. So we have a 4-day week and a 4-day week. And there we go. All right. So those are my whips and whip go. Let's talk about some haul. Excuse me. All right. I do have a little bit of haul. Haul might start dropping off, excuse me, for the Rattle, simply because, you know, I'm working. Sorry about that. I think I showed that last week. All right. So this was a Fat Quarter bundle that was on flash sale, I think, or on sale at Fat Quarter Shop. It's Jubilee by Debbie Beaver. I do not have it open yet, but you can see the beautiful red, white, blues, and greens. So like that's one of the focus prints. So honestly, probably what I will do is make some project bags and put them out there for sale. I'm thinking about, I did open an Etsy shop or did register an Etsy shop years ago, and I never did anything with it. And a couple of people who have purchased my bags or have been gifted my bags are like, you really need to sell these things. And I'm like, well, you know, there's a lot of people selling project bags. But I'm seriously thinking about it. I know that, you know, everybody, like I said, there's a lot of people making project bags, and, you know, we'll see. So, you know, I think a lot of my Fat Quarter bundles, I'm going to start making project bags. I usually make the vinyl front because I like them better. I do have the full cloth, and, you know, I might make some of those too. The nice thing about Fat Quarters is that you can get a bag out of 2 Fat Quarters. And then, of course, the scraps I'll just keep for quilting. So I have, like, for example, I have this one in production. Now, these were 2 Fat Quarters. They're Bonnie and Camille, I believe. And I didn't finish it because I was waiting for some tags to come. I had these made so that I can fold them in half and stitch them into the seam. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. All right. So that's one part of my haul. I purchased this one on D-Stash. This is called Froot Tour. Froot Tour is Pennsylvania German. My husband is Pennsylvania German. He gets kind of torqued, not torqued, but his skin sort of when people say Pennsylvania Dutch. But his ancestry is Pennsylvania German. Anyway, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I never heard of Froot Tour until I married my husband. It's a design that sometimes is cut paper, sometimes it's painted. So anyway, I bought this because I thought maybe if when the planets align and when Jupiter aligns with Mars and the moon is in the 7th house and it's the age of Aquarius, I would stitch this either for us or my in-laws. My in-laws are in their 80s, so if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But I liked it, because it has the distal fink, it has the heart, it has the hex signs. So, and it calls for, it's 40 count Picture This Plus Legacy, which I do not have, but I'm sure I could find just a neutral. And the threads are Classic Colorworks, DMC, and Weeks Dye Works. So I can't imagine that it would be that hard, And I'm sure, that border, you could get that border done, because they're all the same color. Interestingly enough, the blue is Blue Corn, and I'm guessing Fathom. So one is Weeks Dye Works and one is Classic Colorworks. So that's Froot Tour. I also bought this off of the D-Stats group. I have Strawberry Fields Forever, and this is a song that I have always loved by the Beatles. The Long and Winding Road. There's something about the orchestration with the violins and the horns that I absolutely love. It's one of those I crank in the car, believe it or not. So this is The Long and Winding Road. I just think it's beautiful. And I may actually try to finish it on a shaker box. Again, when Jupiter aligns with Mars and peace will guide the planets and all that stuff. So this is on Called for Butter Pecan by Lakeside. Well, we know how easy it is to find Lakeside. Hey, that's a thing. If you guys know where to find Lakeside linen, let me know. Okay? Because I want to try it and I can't find it. All right? So let me know where you can find Lakeside linen. And it's all Gentle Arts except for one Weeks Dye Works. And guess which one it is? Oscar. Yes, everybody uses Oscar. There is a DMC conversion, but, for something like this, I may go all out and get the Gentle Arts. One of them is Wood Smoke. It's not Wood Rose, it's Wood Smoke. So, yeah. And it's not that big. It's only 100 by 100. So, there we go. Long and Winding Road by Blackbird. I did not say that. All right. Another thing, the other two things I got are more quilty related, and I got them both from Fat Quarter Shop. This is a pattern that Lori Holt released, some cross-stitch pattern called Stitchy Stars. Well, then she took the idea and she turned them into quilt blocks. This is designed to be 4 separate bed runners or table runners or whatever runner you want to make. My thought is to take it and make it into a quilt. And, have winter at the top or spring or however when I do, probably spring. I'd probably have spring at the top and then, put a row of something in between, and then summer, and then a row of something in between, and then fall, and then a row of something in between, and then winter, and like maybe put a white border and then a colored border or something like that. But that's going to be my goal. And it's nice because it's relatively scrappy. I have only made one Lori Holt quilt to completion, and so I'm keeping all of my scraps from her stuff separate. And yeah, so, but it's a nice little book. And I'm not saying I have to use Lori Holt fabrics, but what the heck. And who doesn't love to do half square triangles? Let's just do those half square triangles. E-I-E-I-O. Right? All right. The other one that I got from Fat Quarter Shop, Lori Holt does foundation papers. I showed you that on my quilt. And she came out with a new one called Vintage Sunburst. So what happens is, like each quarter is one paper. Okay, so they look like that. So you would cut those 3 sections apart. You would make each section, and then you sew them together. And then you put them all together into the block, and then you put the blocks together, and bada boom, bada bing, you got a quilt. So I thought, okay, let's get the 12-inch ones, because 12-inch goes so much faster than 6-inch, or 8-inch I think is the other size, but who knows? Because Nancy likes small blocks, so we'll see. I thought what would be cool is to make these and then put sashing in between the blocks, and then at the corners of the blocks put 9 patches, or even put 9 on 9 patches, which is you make like little 9 patches, and you put 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the corners, in the middle, in the corners, in between these blocks, and then you'd have like the path of the 9 patches in between. I don't know. I don't have time to really think about this, but the brain keeps moving. All right, so that's my haul. Nothing glorious. So we had some shares the last 2 videos, and 4 of the shares from 2 videos ago were claimed. Unfortunately, one was not, so I redrew. So the share that was not claimed from episode 32 was the Floss organizing cards. So the new winner for those is Michelle Fish. So Michelle, please email me at disorderlystitcher@gmail.com. The address is down below. And remember, you must be over 18 to legally give me your mailing address. All right, so Michelle, you have now received these. Please email me ASAP, and I will get these out to you ASAP. All right. Then last week we had 2 shares for gently used charts for things I had finished. One was Christmas List by Silver Creek Samplers. The cool thing about this is those letters go really fast. I love letters. All right. The winner of this share is Connie Teasley. So Connie, please email me at the address down below, and I will get that out as soon as I can. The second pull was for a gently used chart, You're the Boss, and the keyword was boss. This is a Lori Holt pattern, and I showed you my finish last week. The winner for this one is Ethel Waden. So Ethel, again, please email me down below at the address down below and give me your mailing address, and I will get it out to you ASAP. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it. I'm surprised it lasted an hour. But let's face it, I'm a teacher and I talk. Right? Right. So yeah, so that's where we stand. I hope to be able to keep to a 2-week schedule. That's going to depend on how much work I have to do for school. I cannot stay after school like I used to, because the before and after care that Eddie went to since he was in kindergarten, which is attached to his school. It's a daycare, and then the school is attached to it. It's a lab school on the university campus. Like everybody else, they can't find anybody to do this job. It's a part-time job, so you do it in the morning, you do it in the afternoon, or one person does it in the morning, one person does it in the afternoon. I don't know. But anyway, that being said, they cannot find anyone wanting to do that. So Eddie gets to go to Grandpa's office for about half an hour and hang out and, be his office assistant. And then I have to pick him up right away after school, or if I have a meeting, then his mom is in line to pick him up. So I will be doing a lot more work at home. And unfortunately, sometimes being so tired after school, I don't do anything. So I wait till the weekend, which totally sucks, but that's my life. Anyway, you didn't need to hear that. So I do not have a share for this week. We're going to hold off on that until the first video I do in September. By then I should have some more stitching on Lady of the Flag done. I should have my 5 days in on my Whip Go Boss Me's, which is the same thing. I'm hoping to finish that Prairie Schooler Santa and get a decent amount done on one of those Hawk Run Hollows. I might work on the Village. I don't know. I'd like to get more done on that first block. And maybe even a little bit on the Equality Sampler. We'll see what goes on with that. And so I will see you, hopefully, the weekend after, not Labor Day weekend, but the next weekend, which will be September 9th. We'll have to see, because that would also be the first meeting of my quilt guild, which reminds me I need to send the dues in for that. So anyway, take care, stitch all the things you love, and remember, keep your stitches crossed. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.